it's kind of a funny thing. Sort of like with welding, I kind of have to be in just the right mood to shoot a video for you guys. But I think in part it's kind of more a matter of, do I really have anything good to show you guys that's worth, wasting your time for? So I finally got enough progress on this ridiculous 5C collet holder thing to justify making a little bit of a video for you. It hasn't exactly worked out as well as I would have hoped it would, but I think it's going to be okay for certain things. So I'll give you the kind of the rundown of it. What I wound up doing was I had this piece of steel that already had these holes drilled in the back side of it. So it had a hole here. I just opened it up to the point that it fit or slipped over this tube. And then I decided the best way to secure it would be to just make a pin wrench for the back of it. Well, pin wrench didn't turn out to be much of an issue to make. Everybody's seen one of those, so I didn't really figure that was really video worthy. Nothing fancy, definitely not very pretty, but it wound up being a little bit tighter than I'd like it to be, so I kind of have to give it a whack to get it in there. But the kicker is, I have a hell of a time actually securing certain material with the 5C collets. So it's like it has to be just within 1,000th or so of the correct diameter to be able to get a decent grip in the jaws of the collet. So I don't know how well this thing's going to work out. And on top of that, this indexing ring here, as I start to really tighten this thing up, this thing gets loose and starts to slip. So I'm going to have to look into it and see if I can come up with a way to secure this better so that I can put more torque on this drawbar or draw tube or whatever you want to call that silly thing. But this has kind of led me on to my next upcoming project. Since I had so much material sticking out on the lathe when I was actually doing the turning on this, it dawned on me that I really needed to do something different, and I was overdue for dealing with a project that I've had sitting around for some time. So, several months back, out at Century, somebody had thrown away a steady rest and a follow rest from, I have no idea what model of lathe, but they don't quite fit my Logan. So what I'm going to try and do, this is all cast iron here. As you can see, I've already cut the base off of it. I just whacked it off with the bandsaw and then brought it over to the mill and tried to approximate getting the plane of this where it needs to be. It's such a rough casting on the underside that it simply doesn't, it wouldn't set properly on my parallels, so I wasn't going to be able to use those to get it in there correctly. So I just basically eyeballed it in there, and it looks like it's cleaned up the surface reasonably well. So I need yet to determine how much of these legs I need to cut off. And on top of that, I need to move it back just a little ways. So I don't know if this will really show up in the camera or not, but right there's where it originally was. Actually, you know what? I'll just bring the camera around for a second. Okay, so right there is where I cut it off, and I need to move it back this way a certain amount. I don't know what that amount is yet. I've got a game plan in mind for how I'm going to weld this up and get it situated on how I'm going to fixture it so that I can do a reasonably accurate job of welding it. I will probably use the bed of my other Logan lathe and grab the tailstock off the one that's currently red, and I'm going to put the 3 jaws in this and use the tailstock to center it up so that I can start to do the tack welding on it. So that's my game plan at this point in time. I think that's got a pretty reasonable means of success, and the other thing is it doesn't have to be, you know, like down to the 1,000th of an inch, considering the fact that it's got, you know, the 3 movable jaws on it. I can accommodate some inaccuracies on that, but I think that's going to work out pretty well. I just have to get the parts heated up properly, or preheated properly, and get the bed of the other lathe protected, even though it is kind of boogered up anyways. I still don't want to, you know, completely destroy it. What else was there? So this is the next upcoming project that I'll be tinkering with over the next few days. Oh, yes, I had forgotten. I got me, need a little more room here. I got a couple of things come in from Amazon. One of which isn't terribly spectacular, or a couple of which isn't spectacular. A little more high-speed steel and tap, 440 tap, you know, silly stuff like that. But the one thing that I'm kind of interested in is this guy. I haven't had a chance to actually put it to use yet. Let's see if I can get this around to where I can show you. Anyways, it wasn't terribly expensive. Just something I found on Amazon. I keep noticing that I wind up sticking my head right down next to some of the stuff that I'm doing to try and see what's happening. So I figured it was time to get something like this to make my life a little bit easier. It almost has a night vision goggle sort of special forces appearance to it. And you can see it's also got a little LED light on top of it. So hopefully I can get a little bit of magnification on my projects to assist me in the future. I finally got a little bit more progress on organizing the garage. I haven't given up on that. I'm still slowly but surely moving certain things out of the garage, making a game plan on how to keep it clean, etc., etc. One of the other things in the process of tidying up a little bit is I had forgotten about this little light. This is just some piece of crap LED strip light that I found on Amazon that I thought was going to, well, they kind of had it mismarketed a little bit. I guess you can't actually see it, but you can see my workbench is illuminated now. Anyways, it wasn't a great LED light, but it was perfect for underneath the workbench, or underneath the cabinets to illuminate the workbench. So I figured I'd put it to use there. One other interesting thing I stumbled across in the process of cleaning up is this guy is almost the right size to be my second wrench for the the tool holders on the shaper. I just need to open this up just a little bit. A few thousandths of an inch needs to come out on all of those surfaces. One other thing, I guess about the last thing I can think of to kind of bring you guys up to date is I got to looking around on eBay. As much as I hate to screw with eBay, it's just kind of the only place to get certain things. And it dawned on me that if I could come up with an inexpensive shaper clapper of virtually any brand, any manufacturer, preferably something small-ish, I could retrofit a mount to go onto the Cochran Bly when it's being used as a shaper. Unfortunately, what I've been finding so far is most of these things that they have on there are crazy prices. I've stumbled onto a couple of them that were just like this for the Atlas 7B that were $200, $300, and it's like, you know, just to save me a whole bunch of time as far as building a clapper replacement for this. So it's like, I'm not going to spend that kind of money for something like that. So then it dawned on me, it doesn't absolutely have to be a clapper. A clapper would be easier, but if I took the compound slide off of a lathe, I could turn that into a clapper as well. So I thought I'd almost gotten a cheap one. It was, Craftsman Atlas 109, something like that. Anyways, it was only like $21 or something, but unfortunately I got outbid at the last minute, so that didn't work out. But that's one of the things that I'm looking into or trying to keep an eye out for, to try and rectify that problem. Well, not that it's really a problem, it's just if I can find one, it'll be a lot less time than trying to manufacture one of these things from scratch. So so I know it's not going to mean anything to most of you, but I've been slowly getting stuff out of that corner, trying to get some space back. And let's see, there's a shelf missing from there that I've removed all the garbage from. So I'm slowly but surely getting things a little more organized. It'll take time. I'm kind of coming up with a set of rules. I'm going to probably try to write them out and kind of make myself a set of garage rules as far as keeping, once I get the garage clean, keeping the garage clean. So we'll see how that goes. I've only got one or two of them in mind at the moment, so it'll be kind of a fluid concept, but I think that might be about all I got to share with you guys tonight. Hopefully in a day or two I will get on with the steady rest reworking, and maybe I'll have something interesting enough to actually bring you guys along for the ride on. And otherwise, I think I'll cut you loose.